What if I told you that the bottles, jars, and makeup tucked away in your bathroom might actually be holding you back? For years, many of us fall into the habit of buying every new cream, lipstick, or lotion, hoping it will give us confidence, energy, or maybe even turn back time. But instead, what we're left with is clutter, guilt over money spent, and the weight of too much. Today, we're doing a beauty reset. Together, we'll sort through the chaos, let go of expired and forgotten products, and keep only what truly serves us now. This isn't about perfection. It's about creating a space that feels lighter, more peaceful, and more aligned with the person you are today. By the end, you'll see that decluttering isn't just about shelves and drawers. It's about giving yourself permission to live with more freedom, simplicity, and joy. And yes, you might just discover that the real beauty secret isn't in a jar, it's in choosing less. If you've ever opened your bathroom cabinet and felt overwhelmed by half-used lotions, dusty bottles, or products you don't even remember buying, you are not alone. Many of us, especially after 60, look at those crowded shelves and feel a mix of frustration, guilt, or even shame. We see money wasted, promises that didn't deliver, and reminders of a version of ourselves we no longer are. The truth is, clutter like this quietly weighs us down, not just physically, but emotionally. It makes everyday routines harder and robs us of the calm we deserve. But here's the good news. You don't have to live with that burden. By taking just a little time to declutter, you can create a space that feels organized, peaceful, and easier to enjoy. This isn't about throwing everything away. It's about keeping only what you truly use and love today. And in the process, you'll discover that letting go of the old makes room for a lighter, freer you. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through a simple, step-by-step process to declutter beauty products that can feel overwhelming. Together, we'll clear away the half-used lotions, expired makeup, and duplicates hiding in drawers and cabinets. This isn't about getting rid of everything. It's about making choices that leave you with only what feels useful, safe, and enjoyable today. By the end, you'll not only have a fresh, organized space that's easier to manage, but you may also find yourself breathing easier, with a lighter heart and a calmer mind. Because when our surroundings feel chaotic, it often weighs us down more than we realize. And when they feel clear, it frees us in ways we didn't expect. Stay with me, because along the way I'll share the most shocking item I uncovered in my own stash, something that completely changed how I look at shopping and reminded me that decluttering isn't just about space. It's about freedom. Step 1. Gather everything. The very first step in any beauty declutter is simple, but it's also the most eye-opening. Gather every single product you own into one visible pile. I mean everything. Lotions from the bathroom counter, makeup tucked in your purse, hair products hiding under the sink, and even those tiny hotel shampoos you swore you'd use someday. Put them all in one place where you can actually see them. Now, you might be thinking, why bother? Why not just go drawer by drawer? Here's the truth. It's only when you see everything laid out in front of you that the reality sinks in. Until then, it's easy to underestimate just how much has accumulated over the years. One lipstick here, one moisturizer there. It doesn't feel like much in the moment. But over time, those little purchases stack up. And before we know it, we're living with a mountain of bottles and jars we can't even keep track of. When I did this step myself, I was stunned. I thought I had maybe a drawer's worth of products. But as I pulled items from every corner of the house, the pile grew taller, wider, and a little more overwhelming. I realized I had been scattering my beauty products everywhere so I didn't have to face how much I really owned. Seeing them all together was like holding up a mirror, not just to my shopping habits, but to the hopes and insecurities that led me to buy so much in the first place. And let's be honest, this isn't just about beauty products. Sometimes, what we're holding on to represents more than lotions or lipsticks. It's the hope that a cream might smooth a wrinkle, or that a new perfume might make us feel like our younger selves again. It's the belief that maybe this new purchase will finally be the one that changes how we feel about ourselves. But when you see 12 half-used bottles of moisturizer lined up, it becomes clear, peace isn't in another purchase. It's in learning to let go. Here's what I want you to do. Don't judge yourself during this step. Don't beat yourself up for buying too much or for letting things sit unused. Just notice. Notice the duplicates, the items you forgot you had, The products that made big promises but are still sitting unopened. Notice how it feels to see it all together. Does it make you laugh? Does it make you cringe? Or maybe, like me, it makes you feel a strange mix of guilt and relief. Guilt for the money and time spent, but relief that you're finally facing it and beginning to take control. And here's the mini hook for you. Just wait until you see how many duplicates I uncovered in my own stash. At first, I thought maybe 1 or 2 extra bottles. But when I laid everything out, I realized I had bought the same product 5 times without even noticing. 5 of the exact same thing. Why? Because I couldn't see what I already had. Each time I felt like I was missing something, I ran out and bought another, not realizing the answer was already hiding in my own drawer. So when you gather everything, don't just think of it as decluttering. Think of it as uncovering the truth. It's the most honest picture of your habits, your past choices, and maybe even your emotions. And the best part? Once it's all in one place, you finally have the power to decide what stays and what goes. You're not living in the dark anymore. You're shining a light on it all. Remember, this step isn't about shame. It's about awareness. Because awareness is what creates change. And trust me, once you've seen the pile, you'll never look at shopping or your beauty products the same way again. Step 2. Sort into categories. Now that everything is gathered into one big pile, it's time to bring order to the chaos. This step is all about sorting your products into clear, simple categories: skincare, makeup, hair care, and fragrance. For groups. That's it. It might sound almost too simple, but don't underestimate this step. When you take that giant, overwhelming pile and begin placing items into categories, something powerful happens. You start to see patterns you never noticed before. Take skincare, for example. All those bottles of moisturizer, serums, eye creams, and cleansers, suddenly they're side by side, and the duplicates become impossible to ignore. You might realize you've been buying the same type of product over and over, hoping each one would be the magic solution. But when they're lined up together, you can finally see the story behind your habits. Makeup tells its own story, too. Maybe you'll notice you've held on to lipsticks in shades you never actually wear, or that you've bought mascara after mascara because you couldn't remember what was already in your drawer. Sometimes, it even feels like the makeup we keep is tied to versions of ourselves we've outgrown. The bold red lipstick we wore in our 40s, the shimmer eyeshadow we thought might make us look younger, the blush that promised a glow but never felt quite right. Sorting these items reminds us of who we were, but it also helps us choose what fits who we are today. Hair care can be an eye-opener, too. Shampoos, conditioners, sprays, mousses, gels, so many products, often half-used, because they didn't quite deliver what we hoped. And fragrance? Oh, fragrance carries the deepest memories. One whiff can take us back to a season of our life, a special event, or even a person we loved. That's why this step isn't just practical, it's emotional. Because as you sort, you're not just moving bottles around. You're revisiting chapters of your life. But here's the thing, sorting isn't about judgment, and it's not about rushing to toss things out just yet. It's about creating clarity. By putting like with like, you make sense of the chaos, and suddenly the pile feels less overwhelming. You can actually see what you have, instead of staring at one massive, confusing mountain of stuff. I remember when I first did this step myself. At first, it felt tedious, picking up one bottle at a time and asking, skincare, hair care, makeup, perfume. But then, something shifted. As the groups formed, I could actually breathe easier. The giant mess in front of me was becoming organized, structured, and manageable. I wasn't staring at clutter anymore. I was staring at 4 neat categories. And you know what? That shift alone already felt like a mini victory. Sometimes, just seeing your products sorted into categories gives you a burst of energy, because you realize you're no longer lost in the mess. You've taken control. What felt like an endless mountain is now just 4 smaller, manageable hills. And that change in perspective is huge. So here's my advice as you do this step. Take your time and don't rush. Touch each product. Place it carefully into the category where it belongs. Notice the feelings that come up. Maybe you laugh at the number of shampoos you've collected. Maybe you feel nostalgic smelling an old perfume. Or maybe you even feel a little sad realizing how much you bought chasing promises that never quite worked. Whatever emotions come, let them. They're part of the process. And here's the beautiful part. Sorting is the bridge. between overwhelm and empowerment. In step 1, you face the truth by gathering everything. That was brave. In step 2, you're bringing order to the truth. You're no longer drowning in stuff. You're organizing. You're choosing. You're reclaiming control over your space and your habits. So by the time you're done, take a step back and look at what you've created. For clear groups, each one ready for the next step. You'll feel lighter already because you've turned chaos into clarity. And when you realize how far you've come in just 2 steps, you'll see why this process isn't about decluttering alone. It's about freedom, peace, and giving yourself the gift of a simpler life. Step 3. Check dates and expiry. Now that everything is neatly sorted, it's time to take an honest look at the condition of what you own. This is the step most people skip, but it might just be the most important: checking dates and expiry. Every product you've placed into categories has a shelf life, whether we realize it or not. Skincare, makeup, hair products, even perfume, they all break down over time. And the truth is, many of us have been holding on to items far past their safe or effective use. Start simple. Pick up one product at a time and look closely. Most containers have either a printed expiration date or a tiny little open jar, symbol with a number inside, like 6M, 12M, or 24M. That number means the product should be used within that many months after opening. Mascara, for example, is one of the shortest-lived items in your collection. Did you know it should be replaced every 3 months to avoid eye infections? Lip gloss typically lasts a year. Foundation, about a year to 18 months. And lotions or creams, they usually expire within 2 years, sometimes sooner if they've been opened and exposed to air. Now, here's where the shock sets in. As you check these labels, you'll probably start to notice a pattern. A lot of what's sitting on your shelves is expired. And here's the kicker: expired products don't just stop working. They can actually be harmful. Old mascara can cause irritation. Expired sunscreen may no longer protect your skin. And skincare creams that have separated or changed color can harbor bacteria that your skin definitely doesn't need. When I went through this step myself, I was floored by what I discovered. Buried at the back of my cabinet was a moisturizer I had purchased years ago, still sealed, still sitting in its pretty packaging. But when I checked the date, it had expired almost 5 years earlier. 5 years. I realized I had been saving it for a special occasion that never came. And instead of being a treat, it had quietly turned into clutter. And here's the mini hook. What I found hiding in the back truly surprised me. It wasn't just 1 or 2 expired products. It was almost half of what I owned. Things I thought were still fine had quietly aged past the point of safety or usefulness. That discovery was a wake-up call. Because the truth is, the longer we hold on to expired items, the more they hold us back, not just physically, but emotionally. They're constant reminders of money wasted, hopes unmet, or the belief that maybe we'll use it someday. But here's the good news. Once you know the facts, you get to make empowered choices. You don't have to keep things just because you spent money on them years ago. You don't have to feel guilty for letting go. Instead, you can look at those expired items as lessons. Lessons that remind us to buy more mindfully in the future, to appreciate what we actually use, and to stop chasing promises in a jar. So as you check each date, give yourself permission to toss anything that's past its prime. Think of it as clearing away not just old products, but old expectations. Because what your skin, your body, and your mind deserve now is freshness, safety, and simplicity. And let me tell you, the feeling of seeing those expired bottles in the trash is strangely liberating. It's like you're finally releasing the weight of the past, the products you thought you needed, the purchases that didn't work out, the clutter that's been taking up mental and physical space. What's left behind is a collection that feels current, safe, and supportive of the life you're living today. So as you finish this step, don't see it as loss, see it as progress. Because every expired item you let go of is one more step toward a healthier, lighter, and freer version of you. And in the process, you'll discover something even more important: that your worth has never been tied to a bottle, a jar, or a date stamp. Step 4. Keep only what you use and love. Now comes the step that turns decluttering from a chore into a transformation, deciding what truly deserves a place in your life today. You've gathered everything, sorted it into categories, and checked for dates. What's left now is the heart of this process: keeping only what you use and love. Here's the simplest question to guide you. Would I buy this again today? If the answer is yes, it stays. If the answer is no, it's time to let it go. That question may sound almost too easy, but it cuts straight to the truth. Because let's face it, we hold on to so many things for the wrong reasons. Maybe you're keeping a jar of cream because it was expensive, even though you never liked the way it felt on your skin. Maybe there's a lipstick you've been saving for special occasions, but deep down you know you'll never actually wear it. Or maybe you're holding on to perfume because it reminds you of a time in your life that's long gone. But here's the reality. Every product you keep that you don't use or love is quietly draining your energy. It clutters your space, adds to your decision fatigue, and weighs you down with guilt. By asking that one question, would I buy this again today? You free yourself from the past and focus only on what truly supports you in the present. I'll be honest, when I first tried this step, I struggled. I found myself hesitating over items I might use or products I should finish before throwing them away. But the truth is, should and someday are heavy words. They keep us stuck. When I finally let go of those items, I realized something powerful. I wasn't losing anything. I was gaining space, peace, and clarity. And here's the empowering part. When you keep only what you use and love, you're no longer defined by guilt or old habits. You're defined by choice. You're telling yourself, I deserve only what works for me right now. That mindset shift is bigger than decluttering. It's about self-respect. Think about how your mornings will feel when you open a drawer and see only products you actually enjoy. No more digging past 5 bottles of lotion that don't work for your skin. No more half-used lipsticks that never felt quite right. Instead, everything in front of you will be something you trust. Something that fits your life today. Something that makes you smile. This step isn't about minimalism for the sake of being minimal. It's about alignment. Your beauty products should align with who you are now, not who you were 10 or 20 years ago. They should support the life you're living today, not the fantasy life the marketing promised. Here's a tip that helped me. Hold each product in your hand and really pause for a moment. Ask yourself, does this still bring me joy? Does it still serve a purpose? Do I look forward to using it, or do I avoid it? If it doesn't spark a clear yes, let it go. Trust that by releasing it, you're making space for what truly matters. And let's not forget, letting go doesn't always mean waste. If something is unopened and still good, consider donating it to a shelter, a friend, or someone who could genuinely use it. That way, what no longer serves you can still bring value to someone else. When I asked myself, would I buy this again today? I realized almost half my collection didn't pass the test. Half. And the shocking part? I didn't feel regret. I felt relief. Because suddenly, instead of shelves full of guilt and clutter, I had a small, curated collection that truly reflected who I am now. So as you move through this step, remember, it's not about what you're losing. It's about what you're gaining. You're gaining clarity, peace, and a space that feels lighter. You're gaining confidence in your choices. And most importantly, you're gaining freedom, the freedom to live without being weighed down by things that no longer matter. By the end of this step, you won't just have fewer products. You'll have a collection that feels like it was made for you today, in this season of your life. And that feeling? That's the real beauty reset. Step 5. Organize with purpose. Now that you've chosen to keep only what you truly use and love, it's time for the step that makes all your hard work stick. Organizing with purpose. Because decluttering is only half the journey. The real transformation happens when your space is not just clear, but also designed to serve you. Easily, simply, and beautifully. Here's the secret. Organization doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need fancy, expensive systems or color-coded charts. What you need are simple containers or drawer dividers that give every item its own home. When everything has a place, it becomes effortless to put things back. And that's how you keep the clutter from sneaking back in. Start small. For skincare, maybe one shallow basket on your bathroom counter. For makeup, a divided tray in your top drawer. For hair care, a bin that fits neatly under the sink. For fragrance, a single tray where bottles can stand upright and visible. The goal isn't to hide everything away. It's to make what you love easy to reach, easy to see, and easy to use. And here's where I want to talk directly to those of us over 60. Our hands may not grip as tightly as they used to. Our eyes may not see fine print as clearly. That means our organization systems have to work with us, not against us. Choose containers that are lightweight, with wide openings, so you're not struggling to twist lids or fish items out of tight corners. Clear containers can be especially helpful, because you can see exactly what's inside without needing to read tiny labels. Another tip? Store things at a height that's comfortable for you. If bending down is tough on your back, keep daily items in an easy-to-reach drawer or on the counter. If lifting is tricky, avoid heavy bins. Make it effortless, because when it's easy, you're more likely to keep the order going. When I reorganized my own collection, I noticed something magical. Suddenly, I wasn't wasting time rummaging through piles of products. My mornings felt calmer, simpler, even a little joyful. Instead of digging past things I didn't like, I was greeted only by the items I loved. It was like walking into a little boutique, curated just for me. And here's the mini hook. Coming up, I'll share my simple trick for making sure this order actually lasts. Because the truth is, decluttering once is powerful, but building a system that stays neat week after week, that's where the real freedom comes in. But before I share that, let me tell you this. Organizing with purpose is about more than containers. It's about honoring yourself. By giving your favorite products their own spot, you're saying, these matter to me. And you're making your daily routine smoother, calmer, and more enjoyable. That's not just organization, that's self-care. So as you put everything into place, keep it simple. One product, one home. No overstuffing, no cramming things where they don't belong. When you open your drawer or cabinet tomorrow morning, you want to feel a sense of calm, not a repeat of the old chaos. And if you ever feel guilty about investing in a few organizers, remember this: clutter costs us far more in stress, frustration, and wasted time. A handful of simple containers can give you back peace of mind every single day. That's not an expense, it's a gift to yourself. By the end of this step, take a moment to look at your space. Doesn't it feel different? Not just neater, but more peaceful, like a little sanctuary instead of a source of stress. That's the power of organizing with purpose. It turns decluttering from a one-time event into a lifestyle shift. And in just a moment, I'll show you the one trick I use to make sure this order lasts, because staying organized doesn't have to be hard. But first, give yourself credit. You've done something huge. You've taken chaos and turned it into clarity. You've created a space that supports you, respects your needs, and makes daily life easier. That's what true organization is all about. I used to buy every new cream, every shiny bottle that promised to erase wrinkles or turn back the clock. Each purchase felt like hope in a jar, a little whisper saying, this might be the one. But after years of chasing those promises, I realized something powerful. Peace doesn't come in a jar. It isn't found in the next miracle lotion or the next sale at the beauty counter. Peace comes from letting go of the clutter, the guilt, and the constant feeling of not being enough. At some point after 60, it became clear what I really needed was less, not more. Fewer bottles, fewer regrets, and more space to enjoy the things that truly bring me comfort and joy. When I cleared away the excess, I discovered that beauty isn't about covering up or trying to rewind time. It's about embracing who I am today, with grace, confidence, and simplicity. And that shift, it's far more powerful than anything I could ever buy. Now, instead of shelves weighed down with guilt and clutter, I see only the things I actually use, the products I truly love, and the few items that bring me a sense of peace each day. It feels lighter, calmer, and more intentional. This isn't just about tossing out old makeup or expired creams. It's about something much deeper. It's about creating space for the person you are today, not the person you used to be or the person you thought you should be. Every product I chose to keep reflects the life I'm living now, not a version of myself from decades ago. And that's the real beauty of this reset. It's not about trying to chase youth or perfection. It's about honoring who you are in this season of life, with simplicity and self-respect. When your surroundings reflect that, every morning feels like a fresh start, not a reminder of what you've outgrown. What's the oldest beauty product you've found hiding in your cabinet? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below, because we've all uncovered something that made us laugh, cringe, or even shake our heads. Sharing your experiences not only reminds us we're not alone, but it can also inspire someone else to start their own reset. And if this video gave you the nudge to finally clear out even one drawer, give it a thumbs up. It really helps others find this message. Don't forget to subscribe to Simplify After 60 for more simple, meaningful ways to make life lighter, calmer, and more joyful, one small step at a time.